Hi, I'm Jeremy, and today I'm going to show you a game by the name of Dream Islands. This is a game for 2 to 4 players that plays in about 20 minutes or so, and it's for ages 8 and up. The game is published by Schmidt-Spiele. It looks like it's a German edition, but it does come with English rules as well as some other languages. So it's an international version, and the components themselves are language independent. This is a game, a really light action point allowance game where players are going to be trying to configure a group of vacationing meeples around a chain of islands in order to score victory points. I'll take a minute to show you how it plays, and then I'll come back here and give you my thoughts on it. Okay, so this is what the setup of a two-player game of Dream Islands might look like, with the red player being the start player and the green being second. The start player will get to place one of their little vacationers on the first island, and the green will place one on the second. If there was a third and fourth player, they would go on the third and fourth island respectively. Every other one of the player's 5 vacationers will go on this plane. And you'll notice this set of islands basically has a track leading around it, which will go in a circle. However, players can divert their vacationers to these center islands. And the first pawn to go there will go on this 3-point island. Next 2 will go on these 2-point islands, and any subsequent ones will go on these 1-point islands. So the way this game works is pretty simple. Each player is going to start the game with 3 cards. Actually, I drew 3 here. And these are essentially mission cards. And each player will have, in addition to their meeples that are over here on the plane, they're going to have an action selection board. So this is basically a number of action points that you could take on a turn. And they will have 4 of these little clamshell markers to mark off when they choose one of these action markers. So the goal of the game is basically to complete the specific requirements on these missions. So for example, I think there are 3 mission types, and I'll show you an example of each. So these would mean that you would have to have a chain of meeples on 2 consecutive islands, not 3, not fewer than 2, exactly 2. So for example, here, green would need to have meeples on 3 islands. So in practice, that would look something like that: 1, 2, 3. For these, you need to have more meeples of your color than all the other colors combined on the pictured island. So that's specific to that island. In a 2-player game, you actually have to have 2 more than the other player. So if red had 1 on there, green would have to have at least 3 to be able to complete that mission. And the third type are these, which mean that you would have to have exactly 3 meeples on a given island. And there are those in various quantities. So for example, this one needs exactly 5. And there are these majority cards for each island. So on a player's turn, what they're going to do is they're going to select one of these markers, so 2, 3, 4, 5 actions, and they will get to perform that many actions. So for example, if red is trying to get 3 meeples on an island with exactly 2 consecutive islands that have their meeples on them, they might need to do 1, 2, 3, 4. So you notice every space that you move 1 meeple is going to take 1 action point. Since they did 4 action points, they would have to place a clamshell on their 4. And then they have the option to turn in any mission cards that they can complete. So here they have 3 on an island. Here they have meeples present on exactly 2 consecutive islands. Both of those mission cards would be completed. They would be able to score them points at the end of the game. Alright, after that, the players will choose from the cards that are left in their hand if they want to remove any and put them on the bottom of their pile. So this island is all the way over here, so red might not want to keep onto that card, so they might put that to the bottom of their pile, and then they would draw back up to 3. So now they have 3 cards for the next round. So green would go, they're trying to complete these missions, so 3 consecutive islands, more on this island, and more on this island, so not an especially lucky turn. So they would need to accomplish that, perhaps 1, 2, 3, 4 again. That would allow them to complete that. They would keep that to the side for scoring, and then they would be able to discard and draw up. And let's just say that they will choose to keep both of those, and they would draw a third card. So this will just go back and forth. Now that red on their turn has already taken the 4, they'll have to use the 2, the 3, and the 5 before they could clear off all those markers and then choose a number of action points that they've already taken. If you choose 5 action points, you're required to spend all 5 action points. Any of these action points amounts, you have to spend exactly that many action points, even if it moves past, even if it means moving past a scoring opportunity. The game will go like this, and let me just move these to help you see. As meeples go here to this hard island, after moving there, they can continue to go around the islands, or, like I said, they could move into here. Again, the first one to go there will be worth 3 points at the end of the game, then 2, then 2, then any number can go here for 1 point. The catch is that once meeples are moved into here, they cannot be moved back out, so they cannot be used to complete any of the mission cards, because only the outside islands can be used to complete missions. The game will go until one player has completed every mission card that they have, or until all of these islands hold at least 6 total meeples between all players. At that point, you're going to do a final scoring. So the way that the scoring works, I'll show you here in the manual. You get 2 victory points for each completed mission card. You will get 3 or 2 points for each playing piece on the small middle islands. Again, that's depending upon these signs. 1 point for each piece that's on that center island. And then 3 victory points if you've completed all of your missions. The person who has the most missions will be the winner. In a case of a tie, the most points will be the winner. In the case of a tie, it would be the person who has completed the most missions. If it's still a tie, the game would be considered a draw. And that is how you're going to play Dream Island. Alright, so that is Dream Islands. And this is a really unassuming little game. It plays, like I said, in about 20 minutes or so. Yet, the game really requires a little bit of planning and a little bit of luck and tactical decision making. For a 20-minute filler, it actually plays really well. I was actually surprised how much I enjoyed this game when I first purchased the game, just largely based on the publisher. I hadn't read the rules, and when I read the rules, I was like, is that it? Is that it? Where's the rest of the game? But in actually playing it, it's filled with basic decision making every turn, so there's always something interesting. You're going to always have to pay attention to what your opponents are doing. You're always going to have to pay attention to how many actions you're sometimes going to be forced to take on a round, and you're always going to be trying to set up your mission cards before your opponents do. One of the best parts of the game is that middle set of islands where there's always the temptation to drop off a meeple there and get guaranteed points, but by doing that you're going to make completing the rest of your mission cards harder. And if you pass those islands, you'll have to go all the way back around in order to get back on those islands. So that's an interesting decision point. And again, this is a 20-minute game. You can't think of it as a grand strategy game, but for a light filler, it actually plays really well. The components are really cute, and I've had a lot of fun playing it, both with 2 players and with more players. I have no negative things to really say about this game. As long as you're aware that's not a heavy strategy game, I suspect that you would enjoy it if you like this kind of, very light filler. So those are my thoughts on Dream Island, and thanks for watching.